So you're thinking about moving to Atlanta, Georgia? Well, in this video, we're going to discuss with you about moving to Atlanta. Is it worth it? Is it fun? Is it good or bad? Well, stay tuned. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to discuss with you something you definitely need to know. So let's get it started. By the way, my name is Matthew, and I'm an associate real estate broker here in Georgia. If this is your first time on my channel and you want to learn everything there is about living in Atlanta and the surrounding areas, then subscribe below. Tap my bell for notifications so that way you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Atlanta. We're helping buyers just like you move to Atlanta, and we love it. As a real estate associate broker here in Georgia, we would love to work with you with your move. So if you're moving in the next 5 days or 90 days, give us a call, send us a text, or send us an email. You can even schedule a Zoom call with us. We would love to help you make a smooth move to Atlanta. So in this video, we're going to share with you the pros and cons of living in Atlanta inside the Interstate 285 perimeter, and not the whole Atlanta metropolitan area, which consists of 28 counties. Also, we're going to give you a little touch of history before we dive into this video. When I'm talking to my out-of-town buyers on the phone, I'll ask them, pull up Google Maps and type in Atlanta, Georgia. When they do that, they'll see Atlanta. And when they see it on the map, they'll see the Interstate 285 perimeter, which is a nice circle around Atlanta. And when they see that, I'll tell them to look for the 3 major interstate highways: I-75, I-85, and I-20. Now, I-75 and I-85 go north and south, and also I-20 goes east and west. So I always tell them if they're talking to someone that lives in Atlanta or is visiting Atlanta and they're referring to something like a restaurant or a store or activity that they're having in Atlanta, and they tell them it's in the perimeter, they'll have a good idea where the location is. For those of you who are history buffs like myself, here's a little history about Atlanta. Atlanta's symbol is the phoenix, and it represents rising from the ashes. The city was destroyed during the Civil War by General Sherman. Now, Atlanta has had several nicknames over the years, and if you're talking to someone who lives in Atlanta, you might hear some of these nicknames. And the nicknames are the A-Town, the Big A, the Big Peach, and the City in the Forest. So let's dive into the pros of Atlanta. And also throughout the video, you might hear me use a couple nicknames for Atlanta as the A or ATL. So let's start with our first pro, which is that Atlanta is diverse in people and the interest is vast. You'll see this when you visit Atlanta, and also you'll see it contribute to the type of food that we have here, the entertainment, and all the things that you can do when you visit Atlanta. Now, our next pro is that Atlanta is a great millennial city. We are attracting people from all over the country, especially millennials. Now, the city of Atlanta approximately has about 25% millennials, and businesses are catching on. We're starting to see all different cool types of restaurants and stores opening up all throughout Atlanta. Now, if you enjoy food as much as I do, you're going to definitely enjoy Atlanta because we have an incredible food scene. And that's going to be our third pro. Now, a lot of folks don't know that Insider ranked Atlanta as one of the best food cities in the country due to our diversity, our quality, and accessibility, pleasing both local and visitors alike. If you live here in Atlanta and you enjoy our incredible food scene, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. It's helpful for those who are watching this video. Now, our fourth pro in Atlanta is that our winters are very mild. And if you're moving from a northern state where it gets really cold and you're looking for a little bit of a warmer climate, you're really going to love Atlanta. Now, if you're moving from a warmer climate and you're concerned about our winters up here like I was when I moved here from Florida, you're going to be pleasantly surprised of our winters. Now, the great thing about our mild winters is that you can still pull out your winter fashion. You can pull out your sweaters, your scarf, and your favorite cap that you can wear during the wintertime here in Atlanta. Now, the Beltline is our fifth pro for living in Atlanta. It's a network of parks, trails, transit, and affordable housing that all connects together here in Atlanta. Now, Atlanta created the Beltline to reconnect towns and communities, improve transportation and green spaces, and also increase affordable housing throughout Atlanta. Also, when you're on the Beltline, you'll be able to experience a lot of different cool shops and restaurants to be able to visit when you're visiting the Beltline. Now, our sixth pro is that the cost of living in Atlanta is very affordable compared to other major cities. I understand that you're watching this video and saying, Matthew, there's nowhere in America that seems affordable these days. And I get it. I didn't think that Atlanta was affordable when I lived in Florida, but when I moved here, I realized that Atlanta was much more affordable than Florida. Now, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, also known as ATL, is our pro number 7. Living in Atlanta and having access to International Airport, which is one of the largest airports in the world, is definitely a big advantage of living here, especially if you like to travel abroad, let's say Europe or South America or Asia, then Atlanta is the right place for you. Now, our final pro for Atlanta is that our job market is stable. And if you're relocating to Atlanta in a hope of finding employment or you're making a career change, then Atlanta is the right place for you. Now, Atlanta is home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies like Delta Airlines, the Coca-Cola Company, UPS, and Home Depot, just to name a few. Atlanta also offers a wide range of employment opportunities, which include the Atlanta International Airport, which provides approximately about 64,000 on-site jobs. We also have a booming entertainment industry here in Atlanta. Atlanta actually has been called the second Hollywood because we've had so many movies filmed here in Georgia. And we also do have a very thriving music scene. If you're moving to Atlanta and you work in the healthcare industry or you're interested in working in the healthcare industry, we have some major healthcare employers here in Atlanta, like Grace Hospital, we have Emory Hospital, also we have the Wellstar Network Hospitals, and also we have Northside, just to name a few. So that was our list of all our pros for Atlanta. So let's dive into the cons of Atlanta. Our first con is our lack of public transportation. Especially if you're moving here from a major city, you're definitely not going to appreciate how to get around Atlanta. Now, Atlanta does have public bus lines and also the MARTA train. Now, the challenge with the MARTA is the layout and design. MARTA does not cover all of the city of Atlanta. A lot of time the train is broken down or it's not on time. So it's definitely a challenge to get around the city of Atlanta. Now, our next con goes hand in hand with the first con, which is in Atlanta, our traffic is really bad. And sometimes you'll hear people say the one reason that the traffic is really bad is because of the sprawling nature of our city. Atlanta's spread out nature leads us to be more dependent on our cars to get around the city of Atlanta. And this causes more congestion and also lengthy commutes. Also, I-75 and I-85, in my opinion, was poorly designed. If you're traveling south on either one of these interstates into the city of Atlanta, or you're heading north on any of these two interstates going into Atlanta, they both merge together into one interstate highway right in the middle of the city. And this causes a major bottleneck. So if you're planning to move to Atlanta and not bring your car, we would encourage you that you do your research and consider where you want to live to make sure that you do have the public transportation that you need. Now, we shared with you earlier in our video that one of the pros about living in Atlanta is that our winters are very mild. But one of our cons about living in Atlanta is that our summers are very humid. Now, my out-of-town buyers will always ask me, Matthew, why is Atlanta so humid during the summertime? And I share with them, due to the location of the state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta in relation to the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, which exposes the state to moisture-laden air masses that causes the city of Atlanta to be very humid during the summertime. Our fourth con is that there is a lot of bugs and pollen in Atlanta. And one of the nicknames for Atlanta is the city in the forest. And a lot of my buyers that move to Atlanta move here because they enjoy all the outdoor space and the trees that Atlanta has to offer. With our mild winters and humid summers here in Atlanta, it creates a perfect environment to have a lot of bugs and pollen. So if you struggle with pollen, then make sure you bring your Claritin and you plan to move to Atlanta. If you don't like your bugs, make sure you bring your bug spray. Now, our last con for our video is that Atlanta is not a walking friendly city. To get around Atlanta, you really need to have a car if you plan to do some errands or to commute around the area. However, parts of Atlanta like Midtown and the Beltline area are highly walkable with shops, stores, and restaurants. So when you're considering moving to Atlanta, we would recommend that you look at the area that you're interested in buying to see how walkable it is and the distance it would take for you to use the public transportation to get to your stores and restaurants. So there you have it, the pros and cons of living in Atlanta. We hope you found value in this video. If you are planning to move in the next 5 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. You can even schedule a Zoom call with us. All our information is in the description below. We would love to help you make a smooth move to Atlanta. Thank you for watching our video and visiting our channel, North Georgia Life. As we always say here on our channel, we make the world a better place, one person, one family, one investor at a time through the power of real estate.